This is your first record in 7 years.
Is it?
And there's a musical going on at the same time of the same name, Apples?
There was, yeah. It's finished now. We did 10 weeks in a theatre in London. And the critics didn't like it. I hate it. So the people... We had a few rock and rollers coming. But rock and roll people don't like going to the theatre. They're scared to go to the theatre. They think they've got to dress in black tie or something. So it lasted 10 weeks. And this is, the album is what we did, the songs in the show. I don't know, 7 years. Fuck, it's a long time.
Was the concept to do both, or did you think of you doing a musical and that evolved into an album? Or thinking of doing an album first and that evolved into a musical?
Second, yeah, we were working on some songs. Thank you. And the theatre. So I worked in a play 3 years ago, in theatre. It's a special theatre in London called the Royal Court Theatre, which has got a kind of a it's not a fringe theatre, it's not a West End theatre, it's a kind of art theatre. So it's and they asked me to write a music thing about it. I worked in a play there. And me and Mickey Gallagher was writing some songs just to make another record at last. And because I've been mostly doing acting for the last 5 years. And I think because we wrote the songs not thinking about doing a musical, I think the musical was probably, I should have written a story first and then done the songs afterwards, but I didn't do it that way round. I think the story was a little bit what they call slender.
To meet the songs.
Yeah, and then slapped a few more songs to meet those requirements. So it didn't really, it was a bit of a mishmash really. It was right. I wouldn't do it that way round again. I'm going to do another musical, but I'm working on the plot. I think they're quite important.
No more cut and paste job.
No.
Friends have expectations that this is just sort of an accompaniment to the musical, that you have another 100% pure Ian Dury album in the works.
Yeah, that's right.
That's correct.
But we had we couldn't really tour because as a blockage at my old band, right? Because the bass player was working all the time with Wilco Johnson, who comes over here a lot, and Charlie was doing other things, acting and doing other work of his own, so that we didn't have a rhythm section. It wasn't until we met the rhythm section that we're working with now, the bass and the drums, that we even felt like we had a band. And the good drummers are really hard to find, and I was looking for a long time for a guy that I could work with. And now that's why we came here. This is the first tour we've done, first gigs we've done as a band, away from the musical. And now we've got a band, now we start working. I can't work in an abstract way, really. I like to know there's musicians there, really. And you get a spirit in the band as well. And listen, I've known most of the guys in the band we're working with, apart from the rhythm section. There are 4 blockheads out of 6. So it's halfway being the blockheads. I'm going to call it the Sex and Drugs and Rock and Roll Band, I think. It's a good name, Jim. Yeah. It's a long one.
Do you have a time frame in mind at all?
I'm sorry?
A time frame at all?
What's the time frame? You mean like a playing?
Yeah.
Not really, no. I've got a lot of songs on, so it's really a question of writing some more songs, making a nice set and doing a proper album. I think Apples is more of a musical. It's got guest artists on it, and it ain't really like a kicking ass album.
So aren't the Blockheads a band you could assemble after
drop of a hat? No, that's the problem, because Wilco's always working. He's got a 3-piece band. He never stops. He does 400. They can't do 400 gigs a year, but he does. He's out on the road all the time. And Norman's committed to that. And we wouldn't want to call it the Blockheads if it wasn't the complete personnel, because it was them that forged that kind of reputation that we had as a good band. So, although we were tempted, I went to see remember the Faces, the Small Faces. I went to see a revival of that, and it didn't have Ronnie Lane in it. It had Rick Wills, and it wasn't the same. It wasn't a Small Faces without Ronnie. So I think you got to kind of go with the way you are. You can't go backwards. Although we could probably get a million more gigs if it was called the Blockheads. So I don't know. You might call it the new Blockheads or some such. But we got four Blockheads here. Davey's a Blockhead, Johnny, Mickey and me. So it's four in this band now.
Yeah, I just mean Wilco and Norman.
I'm sorry?
Wilco and Norman.
Wilco and Norman aren't in it. No, they've got their own
You need
band.
them to
And Charlie.
And Charlie Charles is, we don't really know what Charlie's doing. He's a mystery. We can't find him half the time. Where is he? In Australia? I don't know where he is. He's all, he's making films, he goes to Canada. He's, he's a frustrated actor and singer, but he's a much better singer than me. So, I think he gets fed up with playing the drums. I don't know.
So when you still with a lot of the 7-year hiatus is kind of a slap in the face to your die-hard fans. And then for you to break the silence with a musical in England where nobody can see it. He was wondering what's going on here.
Well, I was learning my new craft, which was acting, and I'm sorry about the fans, and I should try and make amends. That's what I can say.
Well, had you been aware of that? Did the fans were getting a little bit antsy with it?
No, because I didn't expect that. So, I didn't even know I had any fans, to be honest with you. So, well, I know I had a few, but I didn't. No, I felt it was important to explore other. If your rock and roll singer does acting, like we know a few that have done it, and they've been shut down for it, and the only way to learn acting is to do it quietly and small, and not upset the actors, because they're being put into some big part in a movie, is very upsetting for actors. And actors are very helpful if you come to them like that, but if you come to them, hey, I'm over here, then they, I don't think they help you very much. They can squeeze you out. So I've been learning it the slow way, the long way, and I'm getting better as an actor. And I found it very interesting working with other people's material. Very relaxing for me, not having to write everything myself. And you learn more about what writing's about. I didn't learn enough how to write a musical, but so I'm trying now to do maybe a few bits of acting every year and get the band going again. Do some gigs, because really I enjoy doing gigs more than anything. I mean, I've enjoyed these three, what we've done so far, really a lot. So we had a good one last night with a cracker. So yeah, we're looking. All of us want to get on the road, and the spirit is just. The Blockheads we did a lot of gigs, and the life in a band. You're lucky if you get more than 3 years, if you're a successful band, and you're working the whole time. The quality of your material is very hard to sustain the quality because you're working, you're tired, you've got jet lag half the time, and you're in hotels and you never go home. I lived, 3.5 years in hotels, and it's not conducive to creativity. So you can see the quality. I'm not knocking anybody, but it's happened to a lot of bands, good bands. One of my favourite bands from Britain.
So I think now you're, rather than burning yourself as a musician, you've achieved a certain balance that is conducive to your creativity as an artist.
It feels like that now, yeah. There's a couple of movies. Now I can be more like, I'm not going to do everything that comes my way in the movies. I mean, I didn't turn anything down. I went and did everything I got offered and went to loads of auditions and things. And I think I've earned enough, I've done enough to be known that I can act a bit, and film directors are really quite loath to put in an untried actor in a part without, especially some new film directors. I'm more interested in working in low budget type movies rather than, I've done a couple of big ones, and they were just not, they were enjoyable because they're a lifestyle, but they weren't good films and they weren't anything to be proud of. So I hope anyway that I've been offered a couple that may come together this year. So it's more that of a balance, There's something for the old age as well. Getting old. Something for my retirement plan. How to keep working till you're 90. I don't know, it's amazing. I've got more energy for gigs now than I've had for a long time. But, there must come a time. I don't know whether Mick Jagger, you can hear him creaking or not, I don't know. Ah, Christ, we're all getting old.
It seems pretty well oiled.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very fair.
まあ一応その役者の仕事をもう what are the results of your having devoted yourself to the acting trade there for 5 years now?
7年間そのリリースを
Been worth it putting your musical career on the back burner for 7 years?
It's only 5 years, man. When is it? When did we last go? 6 years. 6 years. 1984 was it? Yeah, it's given me it's given me the hunger for the music again. I mean, you lose that. I mean, when you're doing it all the time and you're getting tired, you lose that burning desire to do it. I don't know how long Mike Tyson's going to keep doing it. Do you know what I mean? He'll get fed up with this. 3 years. We did 5 years. I was in a band 5 years before that, going around the motorways of London and England. So I did it for like 12 years non-stop. So the last 6 years they've slowed down a bit. But in fact, all of us are really ready to go again. So there's nothing I like to do more than get on the road, get cracking.
How about on the acting side though?
I just pick and choose a bit more now. I mean, there's one that I want to do. This geezer's trying to put together called The Changeling, which is you're not supposed to talk about it. It's bad luck for actors. They'll get superstitious. And if that comes together, I'll be really happy. That's very old. It was written in 1610. And it's a fantastic plot about the ugliest man in the world, and that would be me. So I'll be quite happy with that. And the makeup person is an expert in facial horribleness. So it's got virulent acne, pockmarks, warts with hairs that come out of them, and all his hair's falling out, and alopecia. So I really fancy it. It'd be a good part.
Well, and your colleagues who recorded with the Stiff label were known for a while as pub rockers. All had a momentum for a while there, and you've all sort of maintained a high degree of quality. It seems like your scope of your influence has kind of dwindled.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, people pick up on what you do, and then they're doing it better than you are, pretty quickly. I think what we tried to do with the Blockheads was play good quality funk music that was English with a character of England, rather than like there's so many British singers use an American accent, and I mean I find that to be very odd, but it's very difficult to kick ass when you're singing in English with an English accent. It's very hard to get across even the bar, you know. You end up drawing again, but in a way it's called a mid-Atlantic accent. That's what we call it. A lot of British disc jockeys affect that accent. And I thought, well, I'm not a nationalist or anything, but I think I do like local accents and slang and character, without being, nationalistic about it. I think the character, your own character, is the interesting thing. So that, I mean, I remember Mott the Hoople wrote a song called All the Way from Memphis, and I mean, I'd been to Memphis, but I've never been to Memphis, so I wrote one all the way from Watford, because that's where I've been. And it seems to write. I mean, Chuck Berry is the greatest American lyric writer. Him and Smokey Robinson, to my mind, are the greatest American lyric writers. And they write what they know about. So I thought it was important to write what I knew about. In a way, deliberately limiting its possible scope in a worldwide sense. Because I know, I'd ever be... We played one big tour of America, and I got people shouting, "This is recycled trash." To me, I go, "Yes, absolutely right, sir," but I didn't feel that we was very understood in America, and it would seem like an uphill struggle, so we haven't been back there. But in a way, the character that we present is a kind of our own character, then with a heavily Afrobeat oriented music, or like we listen to reggae or jazz or whatever, and get that influence from around the world. So I can't put a tangent. What were we talking?
Yeah, well, I think there was an extra question there.
そういう問題よりもあると思うけども。
That far off the track. What he meant was like because of your staunch commitment to doing something with artistic value and remaining English at the same time. maybe that's kept you off the charts.
Yeah,
Like you have all sorts of hit singles inside of you, and there is the potential of that sort of worldwide influence.
Yeah, that's I'm not really Andy Warhol said that everybody should be famous for 15 minutes, and I had 20 minutes, and that was actually, in that area, that was enough, because that ain't very enjoyable being very famous. And I can really enjoy it if I go to, like in London, I still get, recognised if I walk around. So I still feel a bit twitchy about it. I don't really enjoy it. But, I go to another country, I can walk around here. I mean, every hour somebody will recognise me. But that's great, I don't mind, it's a pleasure to be recognised. That makes you feel welcome. But if everybody's pointing at you, wherever you go, like Mick Jagger couldn't walk down the street here, I wouldn't really, I don't enjoy that, And I never really wanted to be mega rich or anything. I think that wasn't part of my sort of natural scheme of things. I think that slightly more famous would be quite nice, because we could be able to move around a bit more. But yeah, charts. I don't know. I think maybe it's an accident. If I write a hit single, it's always by accident, and I never really use the single. The singles that I've had as hits, I wrote usually maybe 2 years before, not even knowing they were going to be there, not deliberately doing that. And there's a kind of cynicism attached to making hit singles, which I find hard to provide for myself. So what I try and do is I look through my songs and go, maybe that one, maybe that's a good one. I was doing that last night, thinking, what have I got up my sleeve? Because it would be nice to have a couple of hit singles to make everything a lot easier for us to move around again. At the same time, the British charts are dominated by schlock, and I love Kylie Minogue, man, don't get me wrong, but I'm not in the same bag as her, so maybe she squeezed me out, I don't know. I mean, the quality acts, like Costello is a quality act. He cares about the quality of his work, and he hasn't. He's found it hard to have a hit lately. It's difficult. I don't know. It's almost though anything that's beyond lovey-dovey, toodle-poodle is like humdrum to people, And the record buying public, the singles buying public now in England, I think singles are less important in the States anyway, because they use as a front run, I think, for that album. Yeah. I don't know what happens here, but the people who buy singles are usually under 12 years old, and I don't think I'm ever going to appeal to them. Hit Me With Your Rhythm Stick was our biggest hit, and that probably did because it was like a nursery rhyme, But I don't think we'll ever be. Maybe we will, Rod Stewart's in the charts in America, good old Rod. Is he ever? Yeah. So there comes a time. I think if you keep going, keep ticking, keep pushing, keep working, almost by accident, those areas develop.
Seems like there's probably more potential for your music being recognized now, because the types of music you mentioned, reggae, ska, funk, soul, jazz are all. They seem to be more widely accepted now. They're more widely accepted, and in their own area. They don't have to be like mega. But now, world music is becoming appreciated by the world. But the record buying world now, you can whole areas of African music, like Soweto music, Ghanaian music, Nigerian music, Mali music, Mongezi Feza music, all kinds of music. Jazz in England, there's a great big jazz. A lot of young people doing jazz, playing jazz. Really like following John Coltrane kind of jazz, or Ornette Coleman, and reggae had a major, and Brazilian music. David Byrne is now going around the world with a Brazilian type of orchestra, right? And I think those areas we've always been interested in. We've kind of incorporated them without allowing their character to dominate in a way. So perhaps we might get a scene for what we've been trying to do a long time. We always wanted to make it dancing music, and that at least you can dance. You don't have to think. If you want to think, you can think. That's great as well. But it's more important that the quality of the music is related. Also, I've been a bit short of I think arrangers are very important people. And the guy that I work with mostly, Chaz Jankel, now lives in Hollywood, and he wrote a song called Ana Corrida, the title of a Japanese movie. Yeah. But it wasn't anything. He had seen the movie, but I don't think it was about biting his dick off or anything. But
I think Quincy Jones did a cover of that and got a massive hit.
Yeah.
So Chaz had lunch with Quincy, and Quincy said, what you got for me, Chaz? And Chaz wanted to be a front man, so he said, leave me alone, Quincy, don't do any of my songs. Oh, you're mad! But he asked him not to do any, and Chaz to me is a great arranger, and I see him now and again, but he lives in Hollywood most of the time. He just does film music. He's done about 8 films in the last 2 years, and that's his main interest. He doesn't really want to travel, and I haven't been near him to write songs with him. I've been writing songs with Mickey. Is there a chance of getting a coffee? Couldn't you?
Yeah, we're just facing it out.
Cheers. Yo,
Yeah, just coming.
thanks. And in a way, I can write songs with Mickey. No, I'm alright. Just coffee. Writing songs is one thing, but arranging is another.
Yeah.
And we're working on some of these songs we're playing now, 10 years old. And what holds them together is the arrangements. What gives them the interest to the musicians and the spark. and you know, if you've got a great arrangement, then you can work off that as well. You can improvise within that or off it. And that's a skill that is an outside influence that we need, which we haven't got at the moment, to my mind. Maybe I'll work with Chazzy, so drag him back from Beverly Hills or wherever he's sitting.
It seems like, regardless of whether you're doing an album or a concert, it always has this sort of dramatic flair. There almost seems to be an underlying plot to it that sort of develops. Notes that in this day and age, you have to get people's attention with like a 10-second clip of music, or just something short and catchy. How are you dealing with that situation?
Drama is a kind of ingredient that I put into what I do, because my singing is strictly limited in terms of musical ability, and so I put a kind of another aspect into the music. I suppose I act. I write little portraits and I act them out, and I think what we're doing is quite visual, so I'm not too bothered about the visual, the impact it would have. What I think it's going to be possibly quite soon. It's going to be not a punk revival, but a social orientated revival. In people are going to look for more than just la-di-da-di-doo-da-doo. I think there was a reaction against punk music because it was quite badly played, most of it, and it was like that. And I went down the park the other day. I mean, it's great to see those kids in the park all sound like the Clash, all going no. What's that park called? The Young Kids.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen 44 bands all look like the Clash.
Yeah.
All wearing Dr. Martens. It's great. But I think that if you got that anger and that social content goes into more skillful music, I think that may be the future, like one area of the future of music that I would like to get involved with. Where, there's a lot wrong in the world still, and there's a lot of things, I don't mean political necessarily, but more dealing, like, that whole Band-Aid thing was amazing that everybody put that, thanks very much, man. But it's amazing that everybody put that together and went and did it. And the sad thing is, like, aid is poor people in rich countries giving money to rich people in poor countries. That's how it usually works out. I mean, I don't know what happened with Band-Aid. I'm sure that was very helpful, but we did one with the Clash once for Kampuchea. All the money that got taken by the soldiers. It never got any.
Right.
And it's nearly always the way that happens. So that ain't the way to deal with the world situation anyway. Is to stop making bombs and start spreading the bush out. But so I think music is the greatest means of communication, because you can be doing something else while it's happening. You can, if you're in your own home, you don't have to watch it. You can just put a record on, or on your Walkman or whatever. You can write a book. You can paint a picture. You can paint your walls. You can do your job. And that's why music has got such a kind of pervasive thing about it. It can go anywhere. And I don't mean it should be used as a political tool or anything like that, but I think it can aid more than just TikTok, to people's lives. And that's the kind of area that I would be most interested in, writing songs that are about what life's about.
What musician who is currently active now are you most interested in, or most appreciative of?
Well, I like what there's I like Soul to Soul in England. I like them, I think they're great. Nene Cherry's great. I know Nene. I know her since she was 14. I know her father, because he used to work with the Blockies. Don Cherry, the trumpet player. And I think Soul to Soul have really got it down, because they're doing it like a group thing. There's people are coming in and coming out. They've got a wide circle. Thanks very much. That's great. And I really dig their whole attitude. They've got the shop, they've got the clothing, and it isn't sort of down to commerce, it's down to the style of life and enhancing the lifestyle rather than making a load of money and getting Rolls Royces. It's about a way of life. And I like what De La Soul in America. I like those guys.
De La Soul.
Yeah, I like those. I like a lot of the hip hop stuff. I'm not crazy about. I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy about acid house music. I'm not too crazy about electric music. I like electric drumming if it's done by a good drummer. The programs are made by a good drummer. It's fantastic. But mostly I like. I don't know what new jazz is really doing me. I like old jazz. It's now old. What used to be called new thing jazz, which is like Ornette Coleman and John Coltrane and Pharaoh Solomon. I don't really know what the new jazz is. There was a guitar player a few years ago called James Blood Ulmer.
Yeah, right.
Who I thought was going to, but he seemed to fade away. I don't know. I thought that maybe I knew this new harmonic structure might have got somewhere, Ornette Coleman's invention, but it didn't seem to make it. But I like some of the young jazz musicians. I like Courtney Pine. He's good. Young tenor player. Wow, there's a balloon there, isn't there?
Oh, yeah. It's a new advertising. So.
My mother's 80 this year. She must have got up in one of them. Have a bottle of champagne in it. I don't know. There's a lot of good musicians about, but there ain't a lot of good lyric writers about. So I'm waiting to see some more lyric writers. My favourite lyric writer in England, I don't know if you've ever heard of him, he's called Reckless Eric. I bet you never. I bet you have done. You heard of Reckless Eric from Stiff? Reckless. Yeah. He's been over it maybe once. But he's living in France now. He's a great lyricist, but he doesn't work in England. So I don't know. It's also in England. It's much more difficult there isn't a massive circuit of gigs and clubs and pubs. There used to be in 1975 and 76, which is now 15 years ago. There are bands. You could go up the motorway. You see 3 bands in the cafe where you go on the motorway. Now coming back, you see 3 different bands, and there'd be bands going all over you. But there isn't that circuit anymore. That's all kind of dried up, and disco's took over. That's a shame. So I don't think it's as easy as it was. And there are much more manufactured bands, like Bros or whatever, who just get, Image, studio, haven't done any gigs at all. I think Banana Rama have just started doing gigs. In the States, I think all the funk musicians in the States are immaculately great and marvellous. I like Tony Terry, Keith Sweat, Joyce Sims. There's hundreds of sweet soul music I like that's being made now. I listen to that. I love it. And that's got a big following. I like Maze, Frankie Beverly's Maze. I like all them soul acts that come over. But I don't know, I don't think, major trends and sort of world domination, I think probably a thing of the past. I think it's going to be like more diffuse and yet more good within itself, within its own shape. That's what I think is going to happen.
It's an amazing answer, because usually when we ask people that question, they say, well, I'm on the road a lot and I don't get to listen to the radio, or all the good bands have dissolved, and pop music is really lousy these days. I mean, yeah, 99 guys out of 100, they'll still say that. I'm amazed you were on for 10 minutes about electricity.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
You listen to the radio a lot?
I don't listen to radio music on the radio. I listen to what we got in London called Radio 4, which is people talking about things. And it's a world service. The BBC does this thing called a world service. And it goes around the world. It's broadcast everywhere. And I'll do this jockey program once a year on that. And it's only a quarter of an hour show, but I play like one a week, frankly.
Okay.
One Taj Mahal, one. So that I listen to. But I listen to a little bit. I don't really like pop radio in England anyway, because it's what they call it? Power play. What they call it? The playlist.
No, playlist.
Yeah, the playlist. I'm not too bothered about the playlist.
Yeah.
I did a pop quiz about a month ago, and I got all the general knowledge questions right, but I didn't know any of the fucking acts in the chart at all. I didn't know any of them. Who's that? Oh, that's good. I didn't know any of them. But I think maybe I sold it, and Nene, I knew Nene, so that's good. Her question didn't come up.
で最後に
Just the group.
No, Mickey, we went down the studio when they were recording in London. They were in Powerhouse in Chiswick. I didn't really hear much of it. It sounded a little bit like country and western music to me, but I didn't really listen to that. I was only there for an hour. But we'll find out tomorrow, won't we? Sorry.
覆面バンドで彼のやってる
38 years old.
Oh no, he's a mate of mine. Kyoshiro.
Yeah, right. Kyoshiro, right.
Yeah.
And excuse me. The members of the band perform masked because they sing about taboo subjects,
Oh, really?
the emperor and whatnot.
Really?
Yeah.
Dangerous.
Yeah, dangerous.
I read about the guy in Nagasaki.
Yeah, he
man.
got shot in the back.
Yeah, fuck me, man.
Yeah, I guess that's why they wear masks.
Wow. Well, is Kishiro wearing a mask as well? Everyone knows he's in it.
Yeah,
but he's-
everyone knows, but he never shows his
Also.
Kiyoshiro.
Wow.
His other name is Dury in that project.
I didn't know that. I mean, I knew that. I thought that timers is some relating to, is that something to do with marijuana or something? The name?
Oh yeah, right, yeah. That's right. It's the Japanese word for marijuana.
I think the lady's right. So,
そういう姿勢についてどう思いますか
What do you think of that policy of?
I'm glad he's going on first. I don't want to get fucking shot. I'll tell you. I used to, I think it's a very brave guy. I mean, I was told there was a heavy metal band from Birmingham went to Osaka. And these guys, these British heavy metal rockers, all had tattoos all over them. So they said, don't go out in the street, guys, because you'll get done by the hard men. Right? So yeah, I mean, I'd keep my face very quiet and I'd sing my little songs, man. I wouldn't want to upset anybody. Not over here, I'll tell you that. I mean, yeah. I mean, we had a little trouble with it, you know, because I did that, you know, my slogan, sex and drugs and rock and roll. So occasionally we get policemen coming to the hotel saying, well, hey, you know, you're smoking drugs. I'm like, no, we're not. But there's a very different attitude. I mean, I remember poor Paul McCartney, I hope he's got his visa, but I remember when he came over here, he was 18 days in the prison.
Yeah.
For a bag of grass. Well,
Yeah, they don't fool around.
I don't fuck about, no. So, we all, you know, behave ourselves when we come over here, don't we? And, no, yeah, I think that's great, because these things are, you know, taboos are to be broken, and taboos usually are wrong, not always, but usually, because that's what that word means in a way. And I think that's great. I think if he's risking his neck, he's a fucking idiot, personally. But I don't see the point. But no, you don't need to. But again, you know, if it opens up the society, it's great. I'm all for it. It's like real punk, isn't it? Genuine punk. Yeah, good old Kiyoshi, mate. I didn't know that.
38 years old punk.
Fit little punk. I saw his baby the other day. He's got his lovely little baby tapped baby.
Yeah, punk.
Little cuddly boy. He calls me Ian Chan. That means I'm a little kid. I believe it means I'm a child. Is that right? Chan?
Well, you can just call your close friends.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
just
that's-
like, you know.
Yeah, call me Ian San, which is nice, man, because I ain't the governor. Call me Ian Chan. That's nice. Everyone calls Mickey San, because he's like wise old bastard.
No offense.
No.
I guarantee you.
どうもありがとうございます。Thank you very much.
Sweet.